Hello, everybody, and welcome to Todd Klindt's SharePoint podcast number 277, recorded live on a very, very chilly and frigid Monday, January 18th, 2016. I am your host, a very warm and snug in my sweatshirt, got my space heater going over there, but I'm your host, Todd Klindt, keeping it warm here on a chilly January evening. I'm part of this whole office. This is my work office. This is where I work, and I work for Rackspace. They gave me these flags and these monitors. They did not give me the space heater, but they're in Texas, so they probably don't even know what space heaters are down there. But you can go to sharepoint.rackspace.com and find out all about the SharePoint offerings we have at Rackspace. And while you're there, fire up another tab in your browser. Now that we have those fancy tabbed browsers, unless you're running Edge, then it probably crashed and you can't see anything anyway. But if you're not running Edge, open up another tab, go to rackspace.com/Microsoft and see about all the other Microsoft products that Rackspace supports. And there's a ton of them. Windows and SQL and Exchange and Office 365 and Azure. We host all of these things, all these great workloads that you know and love, that you want to do fun things with, but you don't necessarily want to take care of. The care and feeding gets kind of cruddy on some of those. Let us do that. We got people who live for this kind of stuff. So go out to rackspace.com/Microsoft or sharepoint.rackspace.com and find out all about that. And while you're there, you just do me a favor. Fire up another tab. There's no extra cost. All these tabs are included in the cost of the browser. And go to toddklindt.com. A few weeks ago, I set up Google Analytics on my blog. So I sit there and I just have one monitor that I just watch during the day to see how many people are on my blog. So it would just do my heart wonders if you'd go out to toddklindt.com/blog and just sit there, just refresh the page a little bit. My Google Analytics page, they really appreciate it. And so do I. On to production notes. First thing, got to remind you, starting February 1st, so that's going to be, don't tell me I know this one, podcast 279, podcast 279, 2 weeks from right now. I'm moving the time. I'm finally doing it. After 2 years of threatening and talking about this, I'm really, really going to do it. I'm going to move this to 4 o'clock Central Time. So 4.5 hours earlier than it is right now. Wherever you're at in the world, if you're watching it live, it's going to be 4 o'clock Central Time. Now, the recordings, the MP3s and all that kind of stuff are all going to get out at the same time, so you don't have to worry about that. I might squeeze them out a little earlier, we'll see, but probably about the same time. But going to move it to 4 o'clock Central. A couple of reasons we're doing that. One of the reasons is my nights are just getting busy, got the kids and all that kind of stuff. And I'm getting older, so I got to go to bed early, and that figures in some. But also I've got some guests that want to come on, but the late hour is tough for them because some of them are in the East Coast, some of them are in Europe, and it's just an ungodly hour there. It's like next week in Europe or something like that. So moving it early, 4.5 hours, so I can get some European guests on, get some guests. I got some guests in the Eastern time zone lined up, got some guests in the Pacific time zone lined up. I don't think I have any guests in the Mountain time zone. So if you're in the Mountain time zone and you want to be a guest on the show, let me know. You could be the first. So in the chat room, Merrill Sanders is asking, East is Ames in EST? No, Ames is directly north of you, Merrill. Just straight up 35. So no, we're Central Time Zone, the way the rest of the civilized folks in this country are. But really, sometime Merrill, just flop out a map, get one of those random McNally's out and find where you're at in Oklahoma City, and then just look north, and I'm right there. You can't miss me. I'll be waving for you. So moving it to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, that's going to get me some more guests on here. I did that, had a few guests. The Google Hangout works pretty well for guests, and I've got some, but they just, the nighttime times are tough. And I've been doing it at this time for almost 7 years now. We are 2 months away from my 7-year anniversary. Good golly. And when this thing first started, it was at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 in the morning. And then my employer at the time wanted me to be employed and making him money. So then I moved it 12 hours up to the evening. And now I'm moving it back. So this is our third time slot. Merrill, the chat room's like, are you sure Iowa's not out east somewhere? One of them states up there that nobody can remember. Are you sure it's not one of those? Mostly sure. Just so you know, Merrill, I have from my house driven to Oklahoma City on 35, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've done it. I've been there. So doing that, but again, same great quality and all that, or, mediocre quality, however you want to describe it, it's going to be the same. I'm just going to record it live earlier, Monday, 4:00 Central. So I'd love to have you show up. If the chat room has not been something you've been able to do because you're, at home or whatever, now's your chance. And you'll be able to join the chat room at www.toddklindt.com/netcast. I may URL that too to podcast, but that's got a link to the chat room, and then I'll have a link to the live video as well, so you can watch it live. So looking forward to that. The other production note that I need to mention is today is the final day. We might be in the final hours. It's really kind of all up to Lori on my birthday charity drive. So as you all know, because you've been shopping and all that kind of stuff for the last little bit, my birthday is Thursday. And every year, the month between Lori's birthday on December 18th and my birthday on January 21st, we do a charity drive. Now, this is not like your normal charity drives. I don't care what charity you give to. I'm not even trying to raise money for my charity. I don't have a charity. Though if you wanted to, we'll talk about later in this podcast, something you can donate to if you wanted to. But this is just something that Lori and I and Dan Usher started it a while back, that in this time around my birthday, if my request for a birthday present is for you to give money to a charity that you care about. And I don't even care what it is. It can be the Red Cross. It could be Cancer Society, March of Dimes, Animal Rescue League in your town. I don't care what it is. This is just a time that we take once a year to kind of remind folks that if you're listening to this podcast, you either have entirely terrible judgment on podcast listening, or maybe you've got some podcasting app that just randomly chooses podcasts and it fell on this one. If so, I'm so sorry. But it probably, though, more likely you deal in Microsoft technologies, SharePoint, probably Office 365, those kind of things. So you're probably, sitting in a decent spot. Everybody's situation is different, but you're probably employed and doing good things. And this is the time every year we just think about giving a little bit of that and helping other people with it. Something that I do a lot. And this year, so right now, for the last month, Lori has been dutifully collecting donations. We've had the biggest year ever, nearly $1,000 more than last year. That's all on Lori. She did all the work. I just sat back and stayed out of the way. But as of right now, as of 8:41 Central Time on Monday, the 18th, our total money raised is $3,450. Last year, we did $2,400, something like that. So $3,450. Now, that alone, you're saying, holy cow, we have raised $1,000 more for charity this year than last year. And we did, but I'm doing you one better. To kind of goose things a little bit this year, I talked to the lovely Mrs. Klindt and asked her if I could match the funds. And so this year I am matching every dollar you guys donate. So you guys so far have donated $3,450. So I am going to donate $3,450 to charities of my choice. And so right now, my hometown has a scholarship foundation, the SAC Community School Education Foundation. I'm sure you've all heard of it, big fans and all that. They give college scholarships to kids that are growing up in my hometown. So that's one of them that I do. And there's a couple of others, local food banks and all that. But I'm going to take the same amount of money that you all donate and report to Lori. I'm going to donate to charities of my choice. It's probably not too late to get in there. We can probably let you slip in, so you can go to pointgowan.com/TK charity and report how much you donated. Lori's got all the stuff in there. And it's just a good time. So I love doing this every year. It literally brings a tear to my eye sometimes thinking about how generous you all have been. And I certainly do appreciate that. In the chat room, Daniel Glenn is asking if we can get the monitor behind me to get the chat room. So it's funny about that. When I started this chat room in IRC, I used to publish the logs. And some folks didn't like that because they felt like they could be a little more free in the chat room here. It's a little more ephemeral. And so if I were to have it in the video, then people would be able to see it later. So I've purposely do not save any of this. All right. So again, give a little bit. That's pointgowan.com/TK charity. And let's see how much we can raise. All right. Enough about all that. All right, now topics. Got a few topics here that we want to cover. First off, last week I teased you when I did the shameless self-promotion that I told you I was going to be speaking at SP TechCon, but that I had another one coming up that I hadn't talked about yet. I'm going to tell you about it right now. Here in a couple of months, in April, I'm going to be going down to sunny Orlando, and speaking at DevIntersection. that conference. I spoke there in the fall in Vegas, and I'm going back again this spring in Orlando. The conference itself, it's massive, huge conference. Not Ignite big, but close. It's a big conference. It is April 16th through the 22nd. Now, that's got padded a little bit on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. They're doing full day conference session things. They're having the regular, 70 to 90 minute things the 19th through the 21st. And then on the 22nd, they're having full day things again. So I'm going to be there for the conference bit in the middle. So sometime between the 19th and the 21st, I will be in Orlando at DevIntersection. I'll be doing some speaking on upgrading to SharePoint 2016 and some Azure AD stuff. I forget what all I'm doing, but I will be there. This conference takes place at the Walt Disney World Swan Hotel, which is a beautiful place, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So the great deal about this is it's not just SharePoint, because they do a bunch of these intersection conferences together at the same time. So it's Visual Studio, ASP.NET, Azure, SQL, SharePoint, Office 365, and then there's another conference that's at the same time and the same thing called Angle Brackets. So the cool deal about this is, much like TechNet or TechEd of old or Ignite, they if you can be a SharePoint guy, but you can also go over and talk to SQL folks and all that. And if you go to DevIntersection.com, they've got a little scroller, and there are some huge name speakers there. We're talking guys like Scott Hanselman, and in the past, it's been like, Mark Rusinovich. I don't know if he's speaking there this year or not. I can't remember. But there are a bunch of big names there, along with us SharePoint folks. So you can get some of the greatest SQL folks. You can talk to them, greatest Windows folks, developer folks, and then come hang out with us SharePoint folks as well. So do all that. Now, I got a blog post on that, and I forgot to have that handy here. So the reason that I bring up the blog post is because there is a promotional code. And the great thing about the promotional code is everybody wins. So go to toddklindt.com and go to DevIntersection 2016. So it's just my blog, toddklindt.com/blog. If you go to this blog post, it's got all the links you need to register and all that. But when you fill out your registration, if you put in Klindt, my last name, Klindt, if you put in Klindt in your registration thing, three things happen. You get $50 off your registration. I get $50 in small unmarked bills directly into my pocket. And third, I get to rub my nose in Jason Himmelstein, or rub Jason Himmelstein's nose in the fact that more people like me than like him. So that's an important piece. The $50 for you is nice. The $50 for me is nice. The feeling of superiority over Jason Himmelstein, priceless. So fill that out. Go to toddklindt.com/DevIntersection2016. Fill that out. Promo code Klindt. I promise you'll have a good time. And if you go to DevIntersection, I beg you, I implore you to come find me. I'll be doing some sessions. Obviously, you can find those, but I'll be wandering around, saying hey, chatting with folks. Come introduce yourself. Shake my hand. Tell me what you do. I would love to just chat with you a while, see what you do, see what you like. But DevIntersection, I'm looking forward to it. Going to be a good time. So for some other fun SharePoint news, this was a fun one. So last Tuesday was Patch Tuesday, as is every second Tuesday of the month. And this week, Microsoft stepped up their game. More zany patch fun to be had at Patch Tuesday. So first off, it's important to understand kind of how all these different patches fit together, because there's many pieces to this story. We've got our cumulative updates that we get every month on Patch Tuesday. The cumulative updates patch everything that has been patched since the last service pack, and they patch it all the way across the product. So if you've got SharePoint Server, for instance, it patches search and user profile and Excel services and everything that's in SharePoint 2013 in the server product all the way across. Everything that's been patched since the last service pack. So then there are also individual patches, and they're called hot fixes. And these are the things that are built into the cumulative update. So every one of these cumulative updates, if you dig into the knowledge base articles enough, you can see what different patches are built into that. So if you wanted to, you could install individual patches. Not a good idea, but you can do it. So those are the hot fixes. And then third, there are the security updates. So Patch Tuesday for the rest of the world, like the Windows world and all that, is security patches for the most part. Functionality patches too, but security patches. And that security patch, and here's an important piece, the security patches for the month are always built into the CUs. I get that question all the time on my blog, always built in. Okay, so what happened on January? So January, CUs dropped for all of our favorite products, and everything seemed okay. But there was also security patches that came out at the same time. These security patches were MS16 something. There was a security patch for SharePoint, MS16-004. Now, like I said, that security patch is built into the January cumulative update. If you install the cumulative update, you get all the SharePoint bug fixes, any new functionality they may or may not have added, and you get the security fix. What we found out after a day or two was if you just installed the security fix, if you just installed MS16-004, because you've listened to this podcast and read my blog and you know you don't just willy-nilly install patches in SharePoint. So if you wanted to be secure but not break anything and just installed that security patch, it broke SharePoint. It patched the crap out of it and broke SharePoint. But here's the weird deal. It only broke SharePoint if you didn't install the CU. So anybody who installed the CU this time, everything worked. But if they did not install the CU and just installed the security patch, it broke SharePoint. So that was bad. So then you were stuck in this thing where, do I not install the security patch and risk being hacked, or do I install it and then install the CU and then risk being broken? So that was tough. So what we found a couple of days later was Stefan Gossner on his blog. If you don't follow that, that's a good one. He reported back that there is a single patch inside of the CU that will fix the security patch. So it's not a great idea to install any of these patches without testing them, but at least this point you got your risk area was a little smaller. So all very confusing. Go out to toddklindt.com/SADSPMS16014. And yes, I realize I've got the wrong patch number in the short URL. I would have fixed it, but I didn't notice it until I tweeted it out, and I can't have two short URLs in the same blog post. My short URL software doesn't support that. So the patch that's broken is MS16-004. The short URL is SADSPMS16014. Brother. But anyway, it's all out there. And essentially what it comes down to is don't install any patches, or if you want to install the security patch, then install just that little piece, the KB3114508, and just install that piece. And of course, you got to run the config wizard and all that kind of stuff, patch all the servers in your farm. But this is one of those things. If you do not, if you have automatic update enabled for SharePoint products on your SharePoint servers, that security patch would have snuck through. So another reason not to do that. Also had somebody on Twitter hit me up and say that they heard, or they had a customer that Excel services also broke with that cumulative update. So test it all. Yes, Excel services unstable. So that's in the comments on that blog post, so you can read that. So be very careful. Test these in your test environment so that you don't take SharePoint down and make for some sad users. Okay, happier news now. We've got sad patching news. Happier news now. So I've been doing pretty good. We've talked at great length. I've almost used this podcast as like a group therapy meeting for Windows tablets. So again, because it's always fun, within arm's reach right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. If we count that one, 5 Windows tablets, small 7 to 9 inch Windows tablets, and then I got a Surface Pro 2 over there or over here. I forget. Anyway, I like me a nice Windows tablet here or there, but I haven't bought one in many months. I've been good. I've stayed good. You guys have helped. Whenever I've come close, you guys have talked me down, and I appreciate that. I couldn't have done it without you. Clearly, I have a problem, and you guys have helped. I think that's coming close to an end. So my favorite tablet, if I had to pick one, and I don't like to pick favorites because it's like your kids, you don't have to pick your favorites. But if I had to pick my favorite tablet, it's the one that won't turn on right now for me. It would be the Dell Venue 8 Pro. Now this is a nice tablet. Again, when it turns on, apparently the battery's dead, but it's about this size. A few things and there's a chat room for you, Daniel, right there. Don't. There you go. Oh, all right. So the good thing about this is it's a 8-inch tablet, and it does not have the Intel 3735 chipset that all these other cheap tablets have. It's got a little better chipset, a little faster CPU and all that. But I use this thing all the time when the battery's not dead. And I'm just going to go ahead and charge it right now. If you guys don't mind, just have a seat right here. Use this thing all the time. Love this tablet. By far my favorite tablet that I've got in the mix. And it's been the one that's kind of kept me from buying another tablet because there hasn't been a better one come out. Even this one here, I've got this one. I'm going to close all the birthday announcements here so you can't see who. But here's another one. Like I said, I got them everywhere. They're all over. Not to be confused with this one over here. Anywho, so again, I'd been strong, but then I was out cruising the web today. Windows Central, place gets me every time. And I found a new favorite tablet. Oh my God. So for those of you who haven't been able to figure out what to buy me for my birthday, here you go. For those of you who want to give to a charity, I recommend the Todd Klindt new tablet charity. But this is the updated version, of the Dell Venue 8. It's the Venue 8 Pro 5000. Now, Dell put out an updated version of the Dell Venue 8 a while back, and it kind of sucked, and I never bought one. This one, I'll probably buy. Why will I buy it? A bunch of stuff. So they have, it's been a couple of years since this tablet came out. I forget exactly when it came out, but obviously everything has been, has gotten better since then. So this new tablet is 64-bit, whereas the old one's 32-bit. It's got a 2.2 gigahertz Atom processor, and this is a Z8500, which I don't know exactly what all the things are, but it's faster. It's got more cache and all that kind of stuff. Instead of having 2 gig of RAM like this one does, it's got 4 gig of RAM. This one came with either 32 or 64 gig of drive space. This one has only 64, and so that's good. Having used Windows 10 on some of these, it needs 32 or 64, and so I'm glad they're just going 64 and not letting you have too small drive space. It's got a 2 megapixel front facing camera and a 5 megapixel back facing camera. With this one, I think it's like 1.2 and 2 or something like that. So those are nice. Those are incremental things. I like those. Those get me a little bit excited, but that's just kind of the march of technology. You get more RAM and all that. Here's where it gets super crazy. The new tablet, all of them have a SIM slot built in. Now, I'm on AT&T, so I've got SIMs everywhere, and so that's going to be awesome. Now, I can tether with my phone, and I do that frequently, but I actually do have a spare SIM that I use for other stuff. And now, the new tablet will have a micro SIM slot. I can just drop it in, internet access. The resolution on the new tablet, same size. The new resolution is 1920 by 1200. That is crazy for a screen this small, even one like this one that won't turn on. So that is that. It has Miracast built in. It has NFC built in, the near field communication. It's got a little receiver on the back, so you can pair it with things easily. Those are some of the things that really get me excited about this tablet. I'm really going to like it. In the chat room, Cedric is asking if the touchscreen on the new one is sensitive. The old one was too sensitive. I have not really had, I've had a bunch of little driver issues with mine. I haven't had any problems with the touchscreen, so I'm not sure. But here's another thing that I never thought I would like, but I'm also looking forward to in this new tablet. This tablet has micro USB, and it's got USB OTG, or USB on the go, and that is for power. That's how you charge it. And if you have a USB OTG cable, that's how you hook other things up. So I really like micro USB because everything I've got charges with that. And my phone, tablets, I've got little battery packs and all that kind of stuff. And in the chat room, as they're talking about how I should auction off all of my tablets to buy a new one, Joanne Klein was saying she would bid for one, but then she clarified she's not bidding on the one that won't turn on. Well, I'll keep that in mind, Joanne. Luckily for me, I have a whole cadre of tablets here, so I've got some that turn on, some that won't. There's just lots to choose from. A little something for everybody out there. But what this new one has is the new USB Type-C connector that everything's going to. Now, again, I would have never thought I would like that. But what I've found over the last couple of years of all the things that have micro USB chargers, the micro USB charging connector is just too fragile. It just can't hold up. I have 2 tablets, just me. Of course, that's granted, the percentages are a little off, but I have 2 tablets where the tablet is fine, but the charger broke. Just the little plug on the motherboard. Everything's too small. It's too fine. All the pulling in and out of the micro USB is broken. And so the Toshiba one that I got, of course, that was like a $12 tablet. And then I had one of these Dell Venue 8 Pros break that way too. I had to send it back in and get it fixed. One of these Dell Venue 8 Pros. Yeah, you heard it. So that's happened now. That's also happened on phones that I've known that people have, things like that. The micro USB connection is just not sturdy enough for a lot of use like this. And it's been something like this one here, the one that won't turn on. I'm pretty sure I've had it on the charger, and I'm pretty sure this one's going out too. So this USB Type-C is a little more rugged, and I like that idea. Now with USB Type-C connector, it charges, and you can also hook peripherals up to it, but it's got a lot more bandwidth than USB 2 does. So you can't, with the USB on the go, I can hook up thumb drives and mice and stuff like that. USB Type-C, you can hook up things like HDMI, Ethernet, all these kind of fun things. So I'm kind of looking forward to that when that comes out. So in the chat room, they're all conspiring on how they're going to buy me this tablet. So by all means, keep doing that. The price on this, somebody in the chat room mentioned it was a little high. It's more expensive than these $70 tablets that I bought, but so is this one. So I don't remember what I paid for this 64 gig Dell Venue 8 Pro, 300-ish, something like that. The new one starts at $450 with all the things I talked about, and that also comes with Windows 10 Pro. If you can scale back to Windows 10 Home or whatever, it gets you $50 off and drops it down to $399. And I think I might be able to scrape together, if I sell 8 or 10 of these tablets that I've got now, and I get, $20-30 a piece for them, I'm halfway there. But I really do use this little tablet all the time. I use it and people ask me, what do I use it for? I use it for everything. This tablet has stuck with me through thick and thin. It got me through high school and through all my challenging college years, both times that I went to college, the time that I didn't graduate and the time that I did. My first couple of kids, it's been through thick and thin. This tablet's done. Now, so in all seriousness, what I use this tablet for is anytime you've ever had your phone, be it an iPhone, Android phone, Windows phone, whatever, anytime you've ever been using that phone and thought, damn it, I wish this screen was just a little bit larger, because you're trying to read an email, or you're trying to play a game, or you're trying to view a web page, and you got to scroll and it's not formatted. Anytime you have that feeling, that's when I use this tablet. And I use it all the time when I'm reading stuff. I just don't do as much of those things on my phone because I've got these tablets like this. So that's the role that they serve. The one that won't turn on is great for keeping papers down when, I've got the fans going. If there's any rabid neighborhood dogs wander into my yard, I can throw it at them. There's just all kinds of things. I can use, plug drains, things like that. It's got a lot of uses. Very versatile device. Swat flies. We don't get flies around here. We're too clean. We don't have flies in Iowa. They're not allowed at the border. So I'm very excited about this new tablet. So again, you guys in the chat room, keep conspiring. I'm not looking. You guys figure out what you need to figure out. So another great thing that I saw in Windows Central when I was looking for the link for this was that Microsoft is bringing its Windows Phone keyboard, the Flow keyboard, WordFlow keyboard, to iPhone. Now, those of you that have followed me know that, 6-9 months ago, whatever it was, I switched from Windows Phone begrudgingly to Android. And I've said time and again, I hate Android. I hate nearly everything about Android, except for the fact that there's so many beautiful, blessed apps in Android that Windows Phone doesn't have. And one of the things that I miss about Windows Phone is the keyboard. I loved the keyboard in Windows Phone. And it did the swipe stuff like keyboards have done for Android and iOS for 100 years, but it also, I don't know, for whatever reason, it got me better. The predictions were better. I liked how you set things better. And so now Microsoft is bringing in, part of Microsoft's campaign of bringing all the great things that used to only be for Windows Phone to every other platform. Now it's bringing that keyboard to iOS. And so Windows Central had somebody, they got a private email and invitation to a beta program. One of the lines in there mentioned that they may be adding that for other phones as well. So I hope they bring it out for Android. I would love it. I curse the keyboard in Android every day that I use it. I will say that I have moved more to the voice stuff in Android, and that works pretty well. So, dictating things, but that only works if there's no one around. I'm not, blasting heavy metal in the background, something like that. But I do use that, and that works pretty well too. So I look forward to getting that on Android. So I had a thing. I got a new router here at home. I was going to talk about that, but we're hitting our half an hour mark, so I'm going to save that for next week because I want to talk about that a little bit. Some cool things there. I will, though, one parting story. One of the technologies that has become very common and ubiquitous in the last 6 months, a year or so, is Slack. Slack is a group collaboration, real-time collaboration product. But to me, it really just looks like IRC, Internet Relay Chat, that's been around since 72, 74, I don't remember. But it's, you've got servers and channels, and you got real-time chat and all that kind of thing. Slack has that. One of the things that Slack has that IRC doesn't is the ability to put obnoxious GIFs in your chat channel. IRC sadly does not support that. Slack supports it a little too well. But one of the things that Slack also supports is all kinds of plugins. So there's ways to wedge other services into your Slack channel. For instance, file uploads and things like that. You can wedge Dropbox into Slack, and you can drop files into the Slack chat room, and they'll show up in the configured Dropbox, all that kind of stuff. Last week, Microsoft announced that Skype is now integrated into Slack. So now, and I haven't tried this yet, but if you own a Slack channel, you can go into the settings, the integrations, and you can turn Skype on. And there's really no configuration. You just turn it on. And then, like IRC, Slack has commands. So you do a / and then collapse to collapse all the GIFs in the thing and all that in your channel. So now when you turn that on, that integration on, now there'll be a /Skype, and it opens up like a group Skype chat or something for everybody in the channel. So haven't played with that yet. Doesn't cost anything. Just turn it on, go into your Slack channel, configure your team, and it's all in there. So I need to play with that. I was going to play with that before I talked about it, just kind of forgot. But that's cool. If you're not into Slack, check it out. It's pretty cool. It's free for the basic things. So you create a team, and then it's like toddklindt.slack.com. You have to invite people. It's pretty cool. A lot of good functionality in there. And now it has Skype. All right. Now, shameless self-promotion. So again, just in a little over a month, I'm going to be in Austin, Texas for SP TechCon, February 21st through 24th. I'm going to be talking to all kinds of fun things there that I keep forgetting to put in my notes, but I'm guessing SharePoint something or another, and some other SharePoint something or another, maybe some Azure AD something or another. I forget hybrid. I like hybrid. Hybrid's fun, doing a lot of hybrid stuff. But go to sptechcon.com, sign up for that. I think if you have a promo code, I think you can put Klindt in there also. I forget. But February 21st through 24th. Want to warn you, though, if you go to SP TechCon, I do want to meet you. I promise I do, but I have to leave pretty early. I have to leave on Tuesday. So come find me early, come to my sessions, introduce yourself, say hey. I would love to chat with you. sptechcon.com. And then, like I mentioned earlier, I will also be going to the fair state of Florida and trying not to get myself in any trouble because they've got that law where all the legal records are open. DevIntersection.com, April 16th through the 22nd. I'll be there the 19th through the 21st, talking about upgrade, SharePoint, all that kind of stuff. Again, promo code Klindt, I get $50 and bragging rights to Jason Himmelstein. You get the joy of knowing that you contributed to my new tablet fund. Again, everybody wins. And so Joanne Klein says she's sending me a care package to SP TechCon. So here's the thing about that. So Joanne Klein shows up to SP TechCon a lot in person when she can. Obviously can't this time. But she always sends me Canadian goodies, Canadian candy. I got a Canadian flag at Ignite in May that I hung back there for a while. So I know many Canadians, like most of them, but Joanne for sure is my favorite Canadian for now because she sends me goodies. And the great thing about that is she sends me all these crazy candies. And I got little kids. And I don't know if you remember way back when you were a little kid, there are very few things in life more exciting than candy. I mean, just thinking about candy when you're a little kid made everything okay. My kids are no different. So I bring them home, crazy exotic Canadian candy. They go bonkers. Best daddy ever. So Joanne's talking about she had to show up John Liu, who sent home some Tim Tams from Australia. The Tim Tams were a big hit, Joanne. But I feel good about your chances. I feel good. So thank you in advance. I'm sure whatever's in that care package, I will love it. Okay, so that's it for this week. We're a little over 30 minutes. Be back next week. Next week will be my last podcast at 8:30 p.m. So you're not going to want to miss it. Join in. And then in 2 weeks, 4 o'clock Central. Hope to see you there. See you next week.